What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night Rio. Oliveira versus Gamrot. Big fight night card down in Rio, down in Brazil. Pretty decent fights. I'm looking forward to breaking it down for you guys, even though YouTube hates me and has put the clamp uh, on my views and impressions. I'm still going to be making these. I do not care. Let's jump right into it. Kicking us off at bantamweight, Simon Oliveira taking on Luan Lacerda. I would expect. Okay, Luan Lacerda is a little bit of a wider favorite than I thought, but I figured he would be a favorite. Simon Oliveira is just not very good. He's very stiff and rigid. He takes punishment badly. He's been knocked out a few times in his last two fights. I think he was KO'd by Daniel Marcos and David Martinez. Decent fighters. But I don't think he can take punishment very well. And Luan Lacerda, he had a close fight with Cody Stamann, and 2 years, almost 3 years ago, Cody Stamann was a pretty solid fighter, so I don't mind a close fight. And then Damon Blackshear is solid too. I just trust Luan Lacerda more than a Simon Oliveira. He's the younger guy. I think he's got less miles on him as well. He's the bigger guy frame wise. I think he's the side here, man. I think he can win this fight inside the distance. Simon Oliveira, and I'm going to say this a lot on this card. I just can't trust this dude to win. I don't like the minus 250, but I'm just picking guys. I'm not giving you betting advice, but you know, I would stay away from that if I were you. Moving up to women's strawweight. My internet ever loads. It is very slow today. Julia Palastri taking on Carolina Kovalevich. I mean, we could generate the images of the ladies who are fighting, fellas. Alrighty, thank you. Fiber internet, by the way. You wouldn't believe it. I'm going with Julia Palastri. Carolina Kovalevich is washed. She looks like your nan out there. She looks like she needs a walker to get around, quite frankly. She has not looked good. She's 40 years old. Julia Palastri, pretty well rounded, decent stand up, solid stand up, decent in the grappling as well, not too shabby. Much younger, making improvements to her game. She lost to Lupita Godinez, who just beat Jessica Andrade easily, and Josephine Knudsen, who's a real technical striker. Carolina Kovalevich, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, that version of Carolina Kovalevich could have won this. But man, quite frankly, she's washed up. I also think I low key think Palastri can finish Kovalevich. She's a tough girl. She's very hard to finish. Like all of these are going to be like decision wins. But when you look at these decision wins, I mean, Demopoulos is the worst fighter in UFC history. Diana Belbina is horrible. And then, she gets Yasmin Lucendo and Denise Gomes. They're tough fights, but I don't know, man. I just think she's washed, quite frankly. I'm surprised 19% of people are even picking her. Um, can she win? Sure, she's tough. She's got a lot of experience against a decent level of comp, but I mean, she's 40, man. Literally 40. I feel like the writing's on the wall for me personally. I just can't pick her here. 440's big line, but I think Palastri can win this fight. I honestly think she could win. I think she could win by sub, honestly. I know that might sound crazy, but I think it's actually possible. Moving up to heavyweights. I'm just speeding through these today, man. Walter Walker taking on Muhammad Usman. Does he get four in a row? Does he heel hook four in a row? I, I don't know. I think my thing with Walter Walker is I am not disillusioned by the fact that this guy is kind of ass. Like on the feet, he's horrible. He takes horrible shots. His takedowns are ass most of the time. I worry. Uh, he makes me nervous watching him fight when I pick him. Do I think he beats Muhammad Usman? Yes, but there is a world where he rolls for a leg and ends up getting ground and pound TKO'd. I could see it happen because I always say leg locks suck in MMA because if you're using all of your limbs to tie up someone's leg, they can just get leverage and rain down shots on your unprotected face. So I worry about that. I worry about his takedown entries. Muhammad Usman's an okay grappler. He's an okay wrestler, not so much in the jiu-jitsu. I'm going to trust in Walter Walker here, though, just because I want to believe in the meme. Man, four heel hooks in a row would be crazy. I think he can win this fight by TKO as well. I like Walter Walker inside the distance in general because he can win this fight by TKO. He could flatten out Usman and land good shots. He does have wins by ground and pound. He has submissions other than the heel hook. He has submissions other than the leg locks, so he could win by like a rear naked choke, something like that. I just like Walter Walker inside the distance here. I think more likely than not he gets his grappling going as opposed to Muhammad Usman stuffing the grappling and landing good shots on Walker. So yeah, I mean, pretty wide line. I'm sure everybody. I mean, 5% of people picking Usman's crazy. Like he's able to win this fight. Don't be surprised. This guy. Walter Walker's good, man, but he lost to Lucas Bursky. Let's be real here. Moving up to flyweight, Lucas Roja taking on Stuart Nickel. Tricky one. There's a lot of very close fights on here where I'm really torn on who to pick. And tape study has not helped me at all. Lucas Roja going to have a striking advantage here, clearly. And Stuart Nickel, in my opinion, is going to have a grappling advantage here, clearly. Who do you pick? I don't really know, man. Lucas Roja, hard fight against Clayton Carpenter, who's on this card as well. Ended up getting subbed. Kind of the same thing with Stuart Nickel. Decent competitive fight for a little bit. Ended up getting subbed. But I think I've seen Lucas Roja get taken down and held down. Stuart Nickel, I think, can win minutes and win rounds by just out grappling him. I think on the feet, it will be horrifying every second that these guys are exchanging on the feet because Stuart Nickel is not on the level of Lucas Roja on the feet. But Lucas Roja is not on the level of Stuart Nickel on the ground. Stuart Nickel's got okay jiu-jitsu, but where he really shines is his positional control and his wrestling. His wrestling's really solid. He can stay with a guy as long as he doesn't dive headfirst into a guillotine. Granted, I don't think Lucas Rojas is rocking that Jesus Aguilar guillotine. I mean, he's known for the guillotine. He's nasty, Jesus Aguilar is. And he's a really skilled fighter as well. I think I'm going to slightly lean Stuart Nickel here, just because I think he can win rounds here with the grappling. I think if he gets Lucas Roja on his back, he might end up keeping him there for like 2-3 minutes of the round. And I think that could be big for him. I also think he can maybe work some submissions. I don't think it's impossible. I think he can start to wear on the gas tank of Lucas Roja as well if he's constantly having to defend takedown shots from Stuart Nickel. It's hard though because Stuart Nickel's a guy. He lost his first fight in the UFC, and his regional opponents aren't exactly impressive. But when you watch him fight, you're like, yeah, this would work on a UFC guy. Like he's a skilled fighter, you can see it, but has not translated yet. And I think he can get his first win here. I'm thinking probably by decision. Uh, Seems like a lot of people are disagreeing. Wow, everyone's on Roja by decision. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I think he's got a fair shot. It is basically a 50-50 fight. I just like the control in the wrestling. I think it'll probably might be fucking boring if I'm being honest, but who really knows? I'm going Stuart Nickel by decision. Moving up to women's bantamweight, Irina Alexeyeva taking on Beatriz Mosquito. Minus 650, huh? Guys, I always have a rule, and I never like picking people whose only martial art is jujitsu. Uh, I don't care how many jujitsu championships you won. I don't give a fuck how many jujitsu grappling matches you won. That shit is fake. It doesn't work. I've seen it time and time again. This guy's got the greatest jujitsu in the world. He's a jujitsu world champ. And they fucking look like a bum and lose. Now, granted, I don't know if I can pick Irina Alexeyeva. She's just too unreliable. She's just too volatile. And she's got some personal issues that I've seen uh, going on. I don't think she's completely tapped in um, mentally. And I think that could be a problem. But I don't feel great about picking a fucking jujitsu merchant with no fucking experience at all. But I have to. I just can't trust Alexia. I think on the feet she's a light years better. I think she hits way harder. But she makes a lot of mistakes in the grappling. And if you're somebody who's likes to play and get cute in the grappling with someone who is a jiu-jitsu world champ, you're probably gonna get fucking submitted, right? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. She will probably make a mistake. She'll probably engage in some kind of grappling exchange. She might even shoot for a fucking takedown. She does shit like that. She'll get a knockdown and shoot for a takedown. Once the person she knocks down gets up, it's silliness. Um, yeah, she's just too unreliable. But this lady, Beatriz Mesquita, man, I'm just itching to fade that jujitsu base. I'm just itching to do it. I don't trust her. I think she can win. but like her level of comp is fucking booty, man. Booty. Yeah, I mean, I expect as much. I think she honestly, I think she wins the decision because I have seen this girl Mesquita struggle to finish, you know, some people. I've seen her take schmucks pretty fucking deep. Um, Alexieva, I don't think is that good, but she's pretty big. She's pretty physical. She's powerful. She might have a hard time finishing her. But I do think if Mesquita gets a takedown, Alexieva's horrible off of her back. I think she'll cake the round, quite frankly, if she gets taken down. So I'm going with Beatriz Mesquita. I honestly think a decision. Obviously, she can submit her. That's like the most obvious thing is to say she'll submit her. But I'm going against the grain, man. Moving up to heavyweight, Vitor Petrino taking on Thomas Peterson. Guys, I'm going with Vitor Petrino. He's on steroids, and Thomas Peterson is fat. Do I need to say anymore? But no, in all seriousness, I think Vitor Petrino, he's got better shot placement. He's way faster. He was fighting guys who are way higher level than Thomas Peterson. Besides, I mean, I'm not going to call Shamil Gaziev, on the same level as like a fucking Dustin Jacoby in the stand up. It's not even fucking close. Um, yeah, I mean, Vitor Petrino is just fighting lighter guys, way more skilled guys, you know, other than Anthony Smith. But I just think he hits harder. I think he's more precise with his shots. I think he's got way better jiu-jitsu. Might not have better pure wrestling than Thomas Peterson, but I think Vitor Petrino inside the distance for sure. I haven't been particularly impressed with Thomas Peterson. He beat Dante Almeida, which was expected, but he didn't finish Dante Almeida. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like he beats Vitor Petrino in a decision, and I don't think he finishes Vitor Petrino because he's not finishing Dante Almeida. Um, so I'm gonna go with Vitor Petrino. I think he wins this fight by finish. I think he could get it done by TKO, maybe even a ground and pound. I think he can get it done by submission as well. A lot of people are picking KO. I think the submission angle is a little bit underrated because heavyweights, man, they have horrible jiu-jitsu defense, if I'm being real with you. Moving up to flyweight, this fight is sick as fuck. Rafael Fioho taking on Clayton Carpenter. Even Stevens. 50-50 fight. There's really no wrong pick here. But I am going to lean Clayton Carpenter here over Rafael Fioho. I think Fioho's really good, great wrestler, good body lock takedowns, great nasty jiu-jitsu. My problem with him is if he doesn't get Carpenter out of there early, he does slow down. He slowed down hard here against Alan Nascimento, and he's really slowed down in any fight that's kind of gotten extended. And that's what I worry about. And Clayton Carpenter's a hard guy to finish. I mean, he took Tagir Ulanbekov to a decision in a massive, massive jump up in competition. Lucas Rojas all right, but go from Lucas Rojas to fucking Tagir Ulanbekov is, it's a step up. Clayton Carpenter, I think he's sharper on the feet. I think he's got better endurance. And if he doesn't get finished here, I think he's got upside in round 2 and 3 on a Rafael Fioho who tends to slow down. Now, obviously, I think Fioho could outgrapple Carpenter and submit him. It's very possible. That's why these guys are lined evens. But in matchups that are volatile like this, I like the guy who's more consistent over 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Where Fieldhouse going to start out, he's going to be hot round 1, maybe hot for most of round 2, and then he slowly starts to taper off. I feel like you're going to get a consistent effort out of this kid all 3 rounds, and I think that's why I want to pick him here. I think he's got the ability to win rounds 2 and 3 if Fieldhouse starts to slow down. So I'm going to go with Clayton Carpenter here. Also, Fieldhouse is a guy who's been, he's lost decisions. When fights go to decision, he loses, and he also loses in round 3. So I think he's got 2 or 3 losses in round 3 and like a decision loss, or maybe it's 2 decision losses, 2 losses in round 3. So, once it gets late, he starts to slip a little bit. I think that's where somebody like Clayton Carpenter with decent cardio, sharper striking, could maybe take advantage. I'm going to go with Clayton Carpenter. I might even call like a round 3 TKO because he is pretty nasty, Clayton Carpenter, man. I'm gonna say decision, but it would not shock me if he got him out of there in like round 3. Honestly, close fight though. Moving up to featherweight, Lucas Almeida taking on Michael Aswell. Another tricky one, man. Uh, I feel like this fight should be closer to a 50-50. And in fights where guys are like, in my opinion, 50-50, because Michael Aswell is completely untested, really, to me. He took Balaji Oki on short notice to a decision, but I don't think Oki's all that. So I can't read into that too much. But I've seen Lucas Almeida in there against all right guys. I think these guys should be a little bit closer lined. So I want to pick Lucas Almeida as like a plus 135 underdog here because as well as a guy, he's very tough, he's durable, and he can push a high pace. He basically likes to get stuff done with the boxing. He's got a nice 1-2, nice jab. He'll put it on Lucas Almeida. I think Almeida's got more power. I think he's a little bit more defensively responsible. He tends to keep that high, tight tie guard. Granted, his defense, he's pretty stiff and rigid, so he is there to be hit. I think Lucas Almeida's calf kicks can be a real good weapon in this fight against somebody who likes to get the boxing going like Aswell. Because Aswell's a durable, gritty guy. It's hard to grit through, getting your calf fucking battered through powerful leg kicks. And Lucas Almeida does have those. Lucas Almeida also has a nasty counter hook, which he could land on Michael Aswell because his head is there to be hit. I do think he has more power. Granted, I think Aswell has more durability. But I think Lucas Almeida's got some decent experience here. I mean, he lost to Danny Silva, who's a good fighter in a close split decision. Lost to Andre Fili. Andre Fili's a better fighter than Michael Aswell. He's very dangerous. Andre Fili, powerful, fast striker. And then Pat Sabatini. I mean, Pat Sabatini, on the mat, he is elite on the mat. He fucking out-grappled Joe Anderson Brito easily. You know what I mean? So, and then we look at Timothy Kawamba, his most recent win. Kawamba's a guy who also debuted against Balaji Oki on short notice at lightweight and lost, and then ended up fighting Lucas Almeida at featherweight, and he beat Timothy Kawamba. Timothy Kawamba's a little bit different, whereas I think Michael Aswell is kind of a dog, kind of a gritty dog. Timothy Kawamba is a technician with a little bit less durability, but he's really fast, and Lucas Almeida was dropping him every which way. I think Lucas Almeida's okay. I think he can win this fight. I think he can land the more powerful shots early. I think he can invest in the body of Aswell and invest in the low kick. And I think that'll help take, a little bit of the cardio out of Aswell, a little bit of the pressure up from Aswell. I'm going to go with Lucas Almeida here. I think this is probably going to be a decision. I think this is going to be pretty closely contested. I do want to highlight, though, the weight miss for Almeida. This could be a problem. He might have a shit weight cut. He might look like shit. So, if you're betting on this, please be mindful of that. Let's see what people are thinking. Everybody thinks a decision. Yeah, I can see it. I think Almeida decision, though. I can also see Almeida just knocking him out. Almeida is powerful, man. And he has good shot placement. Moving up, or keeping it at featherweight, Ricardo Ramos taking on Khan Ofli. Fellas, I've got a take on this fight. I'm going with Khan Ofli. I just don't trust fucking Ricardo Ramos at all, man. He is so breakable to pressure, cardio, and grappling. If he can't land spinning shit, he just kind of withers away. I know he can beat Khan Ofli. I don't think Khan Ofli's that good, but fuck me. If there's a guy that Ricardo Ramos will just look like a total schmuck bum against, it'll be Khan Ofli. It'll be someone low level like Khan Ofli. I swear to God. The style is bad for Ramos, I think. I think he's got a big advantage on the feet. I think he's way more powerful, way more dynamic. But Khan Ofli's just going to be pressuring up against the cage and shooting takedowns nonstop. And if Ricardo Ramos doesn't land that big shot, doesn't latch up that big sub, I can see him kind of getting out grappled, kind of losing a little bit of will to be in the fight, kind of slower to get up, fighting to his feet a little bit slower each time. Dude, as like a plus 170, I just can't get behind Ricardo Ramos as minus 200, man. But Khan Ofli looked all right against Muhammad Niamov, dude. And Niamov's a big physical guy, powerful guy, decent grappler. I mean, he beat Nathaniel Wood, for fuck's sake, despite, cheating a lot, but he did beat him. He lost to Myron Santos, who's a sniper. I think Myron Santos is a better striker than Ricardo Ramos, pretty free and easily. Ramos is still very dangerous, though, with the spinning shit, dynamic striking, and stuff like that. He's got a good submission game as well, but I've also seen Ricardo Ramos submitted plenty of times. I'm going to go with Khan Ofli. I don't know. It's a weird pick. He's given up a ton of reach, but I don't know. I just don't trust Ricardo Ramos. And I feel like Khan Ofli's back is against the wall here, so we might see a pretty good effort from him. And in that case, like if it's in the third round and there's a guy who's gonna be pushing it hard, I know it's going to be Connolly because Ricardo Ramos typically is not that guy. This Josh Culibao fight was a fucking disgrace. Julian Erosa subbed him easy. Charles Jourdain subbed him easy. Danny Chavez was a schmuck bum. Chepe Mariscal going to a decision with him was pretty impressive, but I'm gonna go with Connolly. I like the grappling upside, the wrestling upside. No one's picking Offley. I mean, fair enough. Offley hasn't really shown that he's UFC level, and Ricardo Ramos can be dangerous when he is in form. So, it's an understandable pick. I'm just, sometimes I like to be cute and pick the underdogs. Moving up to heavyweight, Jonata Denise taking on Mario Pinto. That is a crazy ass picture. Once again, like another almost evens matchup, and I really don't have a great read on this one. I would like to go Mario Pinto just because I think he's better in pure boxing exchanges. He's also, he's a lot younger. I think he is more well rounded. I think he can get the grappling going. I don't know if he does get the grappling going, though. I don't trust his fight IQ. Jonata Denise is a very tenured kickboxer, but off of his back, he is horrific. He's got horrific grappling. He looked absolutely horrible against Alvin Hines. Granted, Pinto didn't look great against Austin Lane either. I don't really have a good read on this one, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to go Mario Pinto just because I think he's more likely to mix it up and take advantage of a glaring weakness that Denise has. I also think he's got decent boxing, whereas Jonata Denise is more of a tenured kickboxer with nice hands. I think Pinto actually has better boxing, pure boxing, and I think that's where this fight will be decided is by the boxing. And I lean towards him a little bit, but this is a very tricky fight, very competitive fight. I think Jonata Denise has more knockout power than Mario Pinto. I think he's also probably got a little bit more durability too. Denise seems like a tough fucking guy. But I'm gonna go with the young guy. I'm gonna choose to believe in the young man. I'm gonna go with Mario Pinto. I don't know. Very close competitive fight. No, a lot of people picking Pinto. I figured it would be a little bit closer considering the line, but doesn't seem like many people think that. Here's a fight where I am sure what's gonna happen, and I am sad about it. Moving up to welterweight, Vicente Luque taking on Joel Alvarez. Guys, Joel Alvarez is gonna batter Vicente Luque. Luque. I mean, he's minus 500. It's just Luque's. I hate to say it, fellas. Luque is washed. He's washed up. He's one of my favorite welterweights. His run where he was just knocking everybody out was one of the greatest in welterweight history. I love Luque. Losing to Kevin Holland is not a good look. Joel Alvarez is a fucking monster-sized human. I mean, 6'3". He's a lightweight. I think he's going to look better at 170 than lightweight, to be honest. He's got nice, clean, tie striking, big, powerful guy, and he's got really nasty submissions. He's got like 20 finishes, and like 75% of them are by fucking submission. And I just watched Luque get front choked by fucking Kevin Holland, man. I have to go with Joel Alvarez inside the distance here. It's just Luque's taken so much damage. He's been in so many wars. He's got so many less miles on him than a Joel Alvarez, and he's got a physicality disadvantage, in my opinion. I gotta go with Alvarez. I hate to say it. I would like to see Luque win just because I love Vicente Luque, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And moving up to the co-main event at bantamweight, Davison Figueiredo taking on Montel Jackson. Tricky one, honestly. I think Davison Figueiredo at plus 220 is value because he has been grappling more at bantamweight, and Montel Jackson's biggest weakness that you've seen exploited time and time again is that he can be wrestled and controlled. But I think Figueiredo, coming off of a bad knee injury against Corey Sandhagen, where he looked really shitty in this matchup, I think his durability is waning a little bit. I think his reaction time is waning a little bit. He's getting up there in age. But I did not like Montel Jackson's performance against Daniel Marcos. But I could so see this being similar to the Damon Blackshear KO. Maybe not quite as fast, but just him using that speed and just bing bang on Figueiredo's chin and hurting him bad. Because Montel Jackson's a fucking big dude for this division. I mean, he's got 7.5 inches of reach, man. His straight punches are going to be laser beaming Figueiredo, who's a guy who kind of likes to bait out a shot sometimes with his head. So that's going to be a little bit scary. I do think Figueiredo can work the grappling. I might even, personally, I might throw a bet on Figueiredo because I do think he has a grappling upside here. I think he's got a jiu-jitsu upside, a pure wrestling upside. I think he could win that way for sure. But the actual pick I'm going with is probably going to be Montel Jackson more often than not. The younger guy, way less mileage, way less wars, real fast, decent power. I just think he's slowly starting to become washed. Like he looked good against Peter Yan, but he looked fine against Peter Yan, but he looked ass against Corey Sandhagen, and he had a bad knee injury, and he's only coming back 5 months later. I just don't love it, man. 50-50. I mean, fair enough, dude. I think Figueiredo's a live dog to win this fight, to be honest, because he does have a clear path to victory. But I don't trust him to. I don't trust him to use it completely. He might entertain the striking too much, and he might get hurt on the feet by Montel Jackson. Although I am giving him a shout. I do think he's a live underdog here. I think he can win this fight. But the pick is Jackson. Moving up to our main event at lightweight. Charles Oliveira taking on Mateusz Gamrot. Guys, if I have to watch another Charles Oliveira L, there might not be another fucking video ever uploaded to this channel, if I'm being real. Oh, dude, this is a tricky one. I want to go with Oliveira because logic just, you know, wants me to pick Oliveira. I don't like that he's coming back so quickly after getting flatline KO'd for the first time in his career. I don't like the short notice opponent change, although I do think it's better for him. I think Gamrot's a better matchup for him than Fiziev at, taking into account the very recent knockout. Like, Mateusz Gamrot isn't he's got decent boxing. I mean, he's got all right pop. He dropped Dan Hooker and shit, but Fiziev just rips nasty shots inside. He throws nasty hooks, kind of similar to a Topuria. So I was kind of worried about that, to be honest. I think the grappling of Gamrot's a lot more approachable for Oliveira, especially because when I look at Mateusz Gamrot's last loss against Dan Hooker, I think Oliveira can exploit something that Dan Hooker was using a lot to even a better extent. Dan Hooker was threatening with the guillotine a lot when Mateusz Gamrot would go for a takedown, go for a double leg, and he would either Dan Hooker would use that guillotine to stand up, or Mateusz Gamrot kind of just bailed on the takedown because of the guillotine threat. And that's Dan Hooker threatening the guillotine. If Charles Oliveira is threatening the guillotine, you must respect it, or else you're going to get submitted. I mean, if Arman didn't fucking pants himself and show straight ass at UFC 300, he would have finished him with that guillotine. Charles would have, you know? He's got one of the nastiest guillotines in the game. I think on the feet, I think both guys are a bit, lacking durability. Charles Oliveira might be more chinny than usual because he just got knocked out, but Mateusz Gamrot's a guy who gets hurt in like every single fight that he's been in. You know what I mean? He got hurt by Dan Hooker. He didn't really get hurt by Ludovic Klein, if I remember correctly. He got hurt by RDA bad. He didn't get really hurt by Fiziev, but Fiziev blew out his knee. Hurt bad by Jalen Turner. You know, I can see Oliveira using that guillotine to threaten to stop the takedown of Gamrot and keep him up on the feet and land shots. And I think if Gamrot rocks Oliveira, I'm not so sure that Gamrot finishes Oliveira. If Oliveira rocks Gamrot, maybe drops him, and Charles follows him down and gets on top or gets his back, I think he's a lot more live to get a finish. I think I like Charles Oliveira's jiu-jitsu more. I think I like his striking more. I think he might be a little bit less durable, and I worry about that. I do worry about him getting controlled on the mat too, because I do remember, I think it was in the Beneil Dariush fight where he was kind of getting controlled for a little bit by Mateusz, or not Mateusz Gamrot, by Beneil Dariush before he had the finishing sequence in round one. So I could see that as a way Mateusz Gamrot can win this fight. I could also see Mateusz Gamrot hurting him bad on the feet, dude, because his boxing is not too bad, and this is in my opinion, what's going to probably be a compromised Oliveira durability wise, more so than usual. I know I've said that 6 times. It's a really tricky fight. There's a lot of really tricky fights on this card where I'm very split on who's going to win, but you know, I think Charles has the power upside. I think he's got the striking technique upside. I like the knees against a guy who's going to be shooting a lot. I like the hooks inside of the pocket that Charles Oliveira has. I like the elbows as well. He's going to be nastier in the tie clinch. I think he's a better jiu-jitsu artist for sure. I just think he lacks a little bit in the wrestling, although I do think he has a good scramble in him. I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira, like a slight lean, especially as an underdog. I feel like these guys should be complete 50-50 evens here in this matchup because it's not like Mateusz Gamrot had a full camp either. He's taking this on short notice as well. And this is a big fight for him, biggest of his career, 5 rounds in Rio. He might show up or he might shit his pants, dude. And I'm hoping he shits his pants and Charles Oliveira gets a win because, God, man. We got Alex Pereira with the belt back. We got Yuri Prohaska with a big win. We need a Charles Oliveira win. We need all of the goats to win, please. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, I'm going with Oliveira. Obviously, more people are going to pick Oliveira in this matchup just because people don't really like Gamrot, but respect to him for taking this matchup. But I'm going to pick Oliveira. Um, I think he wins inside the distance. I think he can hurt Gamrot on the feet. I think he can submit him off of maybe a takedown because Gamrot sometimes sticks his head into front choke positions when he shoots a takedown. But this is probably one of the highest level submission artists that he's ever fought. So that's dangerous, a dangerous proposition. So I'm going with Charles Oliveira inside the distance. I hope I'm right with this one. I can get every pick wrong as long as I get this one right. I do not care. But yeah, that's it for UFC Rio, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a ton. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.